So welcome back. And now I think it's time to introduce you about something about the communication. You already started the simulation project. And then I have to say, now you probably realize how important is the communication, right? Or effective communication. As a leader, as a manager, communication or effective communication is very important, right? Remember the managerial roles, interpersonal role, informational role, and then the decisional role. It's all about communication. This communication is with your subordinates, with your line managers, right? Internally, externally, you need this effective communication. Very important. We need the effective communication, but we also need what? The communication channel, the project team. We have a group, right? And then we have 4 people. If they don't respond to your email or respond to your environment, your announcements, probably you cannot establish this communication channel, right? So first of all, you needed to establish the channel, the communication channel. The second, you needed to ensure this effective communication ongoing until the project finished. So in this chapter, this year, it is quite, although we have several, let's say, subsections, but allow me to say, this is, in my opinion, this is straightforward. We need the experience, not in the classroom, okay, not in this lecture, but you needed to practice how to make sure effective communication, all right? You needed to find a chance to practice, okay? Don't forget, you still needed to get the support from your line managers, right? Get the support from your subordinates. Okay, so this will related to other leadership topics, motivation, leadership, other leadership skills. Let's take a look at the nature of communication. I don't think I needed to go through this, let's say, one by one, right? You know communication. This is process of transmitting information to sender to the receiver. We have the message, right? And then there's the channel. You can call this channel. You can call this like the process. We are sending the message from one to the other. It can be face-to-face. It can be email. It can be phone calls, right? You know, you can also ask another person to transmit the message for you. Interpersonal communication between people. And then we will have managerial communication among the formal organization. I would say this is still the interpersonal communication, but in a more formal way. Okay, communication is human skill, part of the human skill, part of the soft skill. As the manager, we needed to make sure this effective communication, right? For effective communication, we will make sure like this message, and until this message interpreted or received, interpreted by the receiver, they have exactly the same meaning. So this involves a lot of components, verbal, nonverbal, written communication, right? You can pick most effective way to communicate. And then this is also related to the, like somehow this education, right? People's knowledge, people's attitudes, perception, personality. And then this is what we needed to, also take into consideration, the relationship. Again, this is also situational. You needed to consider many different components to ensure this effective communication. As the manager, we need to convince others, convince people. So this is, we call it the persuasive communication. This is, I think this is in addition to the interpersonal, right? This interpersonal communication, give the manager a little bit more, which is to convince others. Regarding the communication process or communication models, I want to just show you a simple one. From the sender, right, to the receiver, we have the message. The sender should have this idea, right? And then this idea will be encoded, right? Encoded to become the message. This message encoding, and then this become the message, and then this gets into the receiver. And then there is another process, we call it the decoding. also the receiver, after understand or after trying to understand this message, and then it will get the feedback. But the feedback is also like two ways. One way is the sender asks follow-up questions. You understand, right, what I mean? And then this receiver will repeat to give the feedback, yes, clear, all right, or no, please say it again. You needed to understand that this message, and it could be this word, the sentence, or it could be the gesture, right, the gesture, or even some signals, right? So this can be many different forms. I would like to say, hey, the message can be the picture. We think about the channel. It's invisible, right? You talk with each other. You get to actually think about this channel. You have the message, you have the sender, and then the receiver. But you also needed to have this channel to transmit the message. Face to face, it's easy. This channel is the space, right? The location. But if we are like taking this class online, the internet very likely become the channel, right? Thinking about like you try to send an email or try to send an announcement to your group member and no response. That means the channel is not established yet. Okay, what you do? You probably hey, I will ask Shuming's help. Actually, this is the step 0 before the communication. Usually we started the communication, but if this message not arrive to the receiver, this is not communication yet because the channel not existing. Communication, this is two-way. Remember we said that this is one way is sending a message, the other way is the feedback. Keep it simple. Not once, right? You need to send the message, get the feedback, send the message again, get feedback back again. When we talk about effective communication, it doesn't mean you repeat it many times. This is already clear because of the noise. So there are noise, the environment noise, but also don't forget that there are also noise. The sender will have something in their mind. You didn't send a good message. I have this personal experience. I wanted to say something, but what I said is totally different thing. The same apply to the receiver. If you're active listening, then probably you can catch most of the message, right? But if you are not very careful, you just thinking about something else, right? You're thinking what to eat tonight, right? It's about like the message can also be somehow this is the noise, right? But this is the internal noise instead of external noise. The factors will influence the quality or influence the effectiveness of our communication. The goal, the target is to make sure the communication is effective. Okay, we already mentioned something regarding this behavioral process, the influence to the communication effectiveness. So it's talk about like we have personality. Some people, they are very active listener. That's good. But some people like me, I will be distracted easily, right? And then this is, somehow this is my behavioral process, and it caused this ineffective communication, right? But also about, let's say, that the attitude. See, this is very interesting when we talk about this leadership, when we talk about the individual difference. Remember the difference? We talk about personality, we talk about the attitudes, we talk about perception, right? Stereotyping, right? Like a bias. Okay, so you have presumed something, right? When you see the people, when you see that the thing or the people, take this first. We take this into consideration and say that the good way is try to make this message neutral, right? You don't show your attitude, you don't show your biasness, you just the facts. So we communicated the facts. Otherwise, thinking about someone you dislike very much, and everything he or she said is wrong, and then you interpret it like what's, even if he tell you like a 1 + 1 is 2, you will say, no, I don't agree. Okay, I'm joking, but this is some factors will influence our effective communication. If you are a manager, if you are a leader, you are supposed to manage, you are supposed to lead, right? It doesn't matter your subordinates, your peers, your line managers. It doesn't matter about their personality, attitude, perception. Anyway, you need to manage or you need to lead. Okay, the same thing, communication. You need to communicate. You need to maintain the effective communication. Understand the process, build up this channel, possible noises into consideration, or we try to get rid of those barriers, and then we can somehow ensure the effective communication. So we will leave it a little bit late. Give me a break, okay?